Hi guys, my name is Vex and welcome back to my channel, and today I'm bringing to you my May book haul. Today, my May book haul is going to be a kind of large one. I've got 16 books to show you guys today because I did a bit of a haul myself, but also I've got 2 books from publishers and 1 book from a book box, and I feel like this one's going to be a long one, so let's just jump straight in. The first book I'm going to show you today was from the Owl Crate May box, and that is Skye in the Deep by Adriana Young, and I'm really excited to get this one. I actually ordered it myself, so... And it basically follows 17-year-old Elin, I think her name is, and she was raised to be a warrior. She fights along the Aska clansmen in an ancient rivalry against the Riki clan. Her life is brutal but simple. It is fight to survive, but this is until the unthinkable happens and she sees her brother, who died 5 years ago, on the battlefield fighting against her. Faced with her brother's betrayal, she must survive the winter with the Riki clan in the mountains. This one ensues from there. It is going to, I think it's going to be really interesting because she is surrounded by enemies on all fronts and she's going to attempt to survive and maybe unite the clans. So really excited about this one. The next 2 books I got from the publisher #Australia, so thank you very much #Australia for sending me 1,000 Perfect Notes by C.G. Drews. If you do not know who C.G. Drews is, she is Paper Fury. She is a book blogger and she is quite amazing. If you do not know, she has a bookstagram that is beautiful. I've read 1,000 Perfect Notes already and it's pretty freaking good. It basically follows a guy named Beck, whose mother was once a famous pianist and lives out her shattered dreams through her son. She pushes Beck to his limit every day, training from 5 in the morning till 8, and then when he gets home from school, he is on the piano playing music. But music might have left his heart. But Beck's mother is violent, and Beck wants to escape from his violent mother, from his home, and most of all from the piano he is forced to play every day. And then he meets a girl named August, who is fun-loving and free, and she is just a bright light in his life. It's about his growth, really. It's a story about his growth, and it's really emotional, and it's really brutal. But I won't tell you much more about this one. I have read it already, so you will see this one in my June wrap-up, but there's a huge trigger warning in this one, guys, for domestic violence and abuse and thoughts of self-harm. So of course, remember going into this one, which I think is an amazing book, just remember to look after yourselves. And this one comes out on the 7th of June, so if this seems up your alley, definitely grab it. I think it's a really good contemporary. And the next book I received from #Australia was From Twinkle with Love by Zendaya Menon. Really enjoyable. This is following a girl named Twinkle who is an aspiring film director. She kind of writes notes, and this story is told from her notes towards famous inspirational female directors, and it's really enjoyable. So Twinkle basically is a wallflower that is gone unheard. And then nerdy classmate Salil approaches her to direct a film in the Summer Film Festival. She jumps at it to share her vision and maybe get her best friend Maddie back, who has drifted into the popular crowd. It's also an opportunity to get closer to Neil Roy, who is Salil's brother, who she is basically in love with. She thinks it is a dream come true, and then things go from there. She starts falling for Salil, and then she gets a secret admirer with the name N, so things go from there. It's really enjoyable. It's a coming of age story. It's about her sharing her voice. This one went up in my May wrap up as well, so if you want to hear more of my thoughts, I will leave the link up here so you can go check it out. But again, this is a cute, fluffy contemporary, and I really enjoyed it. Thank you so much, Sachet, for sharing this one with me. Now guys, shit's gonna get real because the next books I will purchase myself because I have no self-control. So let's start out with A Court of Frost and Starlight by Sarah J Maas. This is of course one of my highly anticipated reads of the year. I had to get the hardcover and the paperback because I have no self-control, and it looks better on my shelves that way, so what can you do? Court of Frost and Starlight, if you do not know, is the novella following the A Court of Thorns and Roses trilogy. Don't go into this one thinking it's a book. It's not. It's about 200 pages. It is a very short novella, and it's basically a winter solstice story. It's kind of their Christmas. It's just a cute story of rebuilding and recovering, and it's also in my May wrap-up if you want to check it out, but it's just a cute story to see where our characters are and to see where we are going. You definitely don't need to read this going into the next book, but there's one chapter that gives you like a prequel to what is going to happen in the next novel. So I loved it. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars, but keep in mind that a lot of people were disappointed by this one. The next one I'm going to show you today is Lifelike by Kristoff. This is the finished copy. I already have the ARC, but I really wanted to get the finished copy and support the bookseller while we're at the launch in Brisbane. Really love this. This follows a girl named Eve who isn't looking for trouble because she is too busy looking over her shoulder. She has spent months building this robot machine which is reduced to shreds, and she used the rest of her money on this, which she should have used for her granddad's medicine. As she is on her way home to her grandfather, her and her best friend Lemon Fresh stumble across a Lifelike, which is a robot that is exactly like humans except better, basically. And she picks it up and drags it on, being hunted by gangs, and shit goes from there. The Lifelike wakes up, drops some bombs, some information bombs that she might not know about. Her grandfather is kidnapped, and she is on a quest to find him and to find who took him and why. It's a good story about female friendship as well. The suspense in this one was next level. Also in my wrap up if you would like to go check that out, but really, really enjoyable. And the front says, it's Romeo and Juliet meets Mad Max meets X-Men with a little bit of Blade Runner cheering from the sidelines. So when I was telling you earlier about the books I received in Outgrade, I forgot there was a multiple books. I also received Catching Stars by Kayla Keenan, and this is an Of Tomes published book, and the last Of Tomes published book we got in our crate was freaking amazing, so I'm excited about this one. This one looks to be a fantasy and is about Jane, who is in hiding. She is a witch with powerful abilities. She carves out a life for herself in the slums of Paval, which is a city rotting from the inside out. When an old acquaintance tracks her down, Jane is dragged back into a world she tried to escape and is determined to escape again. So it follows Jane and also Maddox, who is a guy on the run. After 2 years in prison for crimes he did not commit, Maddox escapes and seeks out a legendary order of witch hunters who are his only chance to find justice. And I believe Jane and Maddox's paths collide, so that's going to be really, really interesting. And it seems to be a very witchy book, which I'm excited about witchy books this month, so definitely want to check this one out. The next two books I bought at the Lifelike launch, I went to Dimmicks in Brisbane and I picked myself up The Wicked Deep by Shay Earnshaw, and Chelsea from Chelsea Darling Reads and Julie from Pages and Pens, I believe, have been talking about The Wicked Deep, so I'm excited to dive into it. I believe it follows 2 centuries ago. 3 girls were drowned for being witches, and now this town, Sparrow, is famous for this drowning. And I believe this is a big attraction because every year now, in summer, the girls return and seek revenge, dragging boys to their deaths. And so this follows Penny Talbot, who is 17 and accepted her town's fate. But on the eve of the sister's death, Bo Carter arrives in town, unaware of the dangers that he has just stumbled into. So I'm excited about this one. Again, a really witchy read, which I'm really, really keen for this month. I definitely think I want to put this one on my TBR for June. It sounds really, really exciting. I've heard some amazing things about The Wicked Deep, so I'm excited to see where this one goes, and I really enjoy this cover. It's lovely. And the next book I picked up in Brisbane was Nixia by Scott Reintigan. I'm unsure that I pronounced that correctly, but as you can see, this looks like a sci-fi to me, so I just grabbed it. I didn't really know much more about it, but I'll read the back. Emmett Atwood is just a poor kid plucked from the streets of Detroit, but now he and 9 teenagers like him are traveling to a distant planet aboard the Babel Corporation's light ship. Before they get there, they are told 2 of them will be eliminated. The 8 who make it will land on an alien world where they will hunt for Nixia, the most extraordinary substance in the universe. But first, Emmett must endure frightening tests, rivalry with his fellow chosen ones, and the fear that Babel aren't telling the truth. Because if Babel aren't, they'll be trapped light years away from home and all alone. Excited about this, because I'm enjoying sci-fi at the moment. It's also been blurred by Marie Lu, so. And the next books I received on a Barnes & Noble haul that I did. So the first book I purchased was Captain Marvel, Volume 1, Higher, Further, Faster, More by Kelly Sue DeConnick, and this one is, of course, about Captain Marvel on her adventures. I really wanted to know more about Captain Marvel since seeing that obviously she will have her own Marvel movie coming out next year, I think in February. So I really wanted to know more, so I picked this one up to dive into some of her adventures. The next one I got was Hawkeye Volume 1, My Life as a Weapon by Matt Fraction, and yeah, I love Hawkeye. I think Hawkeye's a really underrated Marvel character, so I wanted a comic about him and to see what they did with that. Opening up, I can see I don't love the art style, but I'm still really excited to see what they do with the character and hopefully know more about Hawkeye because he is fabulous. Now I'm going to show you the book that I purchased all this Barnes & Noble haul from, and that is Only Human by Sylvain Nouvelle. This one came out in May and I was buddy reading this one with Jess from Jess Reads Books, so I had to get a copy of it, of course, and I needed to get the hardcover to match the rest of my collection. And Only Human is the third book in the Themis files. I obviously can't tell you much about it because it's the third book and it would be a spoiler, but it is a sci-fi trilogy that just kicks ass. Sleeping Giants is the first one, and it follows a girl who falls into a massive hole and lands in a big metal hand. When she is grown up, she is in this scientific research team, and they basically find different body parts of this metal thing and put it all together, and then shit goes down. This is a really suspenseful story. This is a really interesting story, and it's told in like journals and dossiers and things like that. It's just amazing, really, really enjoyable. One of my favorite sci-fis of all time. I freaking love it. The next book I bought was Tyler Johnson Was Here by J. Coles, and this one is another one focusing on the Black Lives Matter movement, which I'm loving reading books about at the moment. They're really, really refreshing. They're really, really interesting, and I've been really, really enjoying immersing myself and kind of waking myself up to some of the issues that are happening across the world at the moment. It's about a guy named Marvin who goes to a party with his twin brother Tyler, and what starts as harmless fun turns into a shooting and a police raid. Marvin gets home and cannot find Tyler, and it's up to Marvin to find Tyler. However, he turns up dead, and a video turns up online of the tragic story of a police officer shooting Tyler. And I guess this is about Marvin finding justice, and it'll be really, really interesting. I'm really excited to read it, and hopefully I love it as much as I've been loving the other books along the same theme, like The Hate You Give and Long Way Down and Dear Martin. So also on this haul, which I purchased prior to my Owl Crate arriving, I got Skye in the Deep by Adrienne Young. Whoops. So I don't really need to talk about it because you've obviously already seen it, but this is the original and this is the Owl Crate cover. So you can kind of see how they differ there. This one's more gold, this one's got a little bit more silver. Yeah. The next book I purchased on my Barnes & Noble haul was Goblin by Anna Stevens, which I'm obviously currently reading, and this book is the Quarterly Club's book pick for summer, which I'll leave a link to G's announcement video up here as well. We will be having a live show for this book, so if you'd like to read along with us, our live show will be, I believe, the first week of August, but I will do a complete announcement video for that one shortly. But the way Goblin was kind of told to us, it's basically like a Game of Thrones vibe. It's very, very gory, and I've only read like 20 pages and it is bloody, and I really enjoy it. And I'll just read a little bit of the back. The Mercies worship the bloodthirsty red gods. They were exiled from Rilpor 1,000 years ago and left to suffer a harsh life in the cold mountains. But a new Mercies king now plots an invasion of Rilpor's thriving cities and fertile earth. So we're kind of going into like a rebellion of people kind of fighting back. I believe it gets told from a lot of people's perspective, so I'm not going to go through the whole back of it. I think I'm going to really enjoy this. I get like Nevernight vibes already. I'm unsure why. I think it's a bit of the writing style, but I'm excited to see where Goblin takes us, and I definitely think you should join us for the live show. And last but not least, the last book in my haul is Dread Nation by Justine Ireland, and I'm so excited about this one. This cover's gorgeous. I'm really excited about this one. It's a zombie book. It's a zombie book, guys. This one's about a girl named Jane who is born 2 days before the dead start rising on the battlefield of Gettysburg, derailing the war and changing the United States forever. Safety for all people depends on the Native and Negro Re-Education Act, which requires natives and Negroes to fight against and learn how to fight against the dead. And this follows Jane, who doesn't just want to put down the dead, she wants to be more than that, and I'm really excited to dive in and jump into a zombie story. It's gonna be epic, I can't wait. And that's it from me today, guys. Those are the 16 books that I hauled in the month of May, and there are a lot of them, so hopefully I won't be doing a haul for you guys anytime soon, because I think I need to lay off on the purchasing. If you like this video, please give it a big thumbs up, subscribe if you'd like to see more and have not already, and chat to me down in the comments. Let me know what books you bought in the month of May. I would love to hear about them. I make videos for Monday and Thursday, and I'll see you in a new one. Bye!